What is going on, everybody? Earlier today, EA put out a tweet right there, or actually right here, talking about how tomorrow, Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time on their Twitch channel, they're going to be talking about the gameplay changes they made based off of our community feedback, and I am super thrilled to talk about it. So if you guys are thrilled too, and I'm going to talk about my predictions, make sure you guys hit the like button, make that thing turn from gray to blue, and directly help me in the YouTube algorithm. It helps out the channel a ton. That's all I ask for in return for this, alright? So, getting into it, you're going to see me slide down slowly to the bottom left-hand corner. We're going to watch some awesome skills trainer as I talk about my predictions. We had some very big complaints as a community on the game, and I'm super thrilled and super grateful and super excited about the fact that they're going live on a stream to talk about the changes they made directly based off the feedback we gave. That's awesome. It seems like they're trying their best to be transparent, and we can't ask for anything more. So, what do I think that they're really going to be changing? From the beta, there was a lot of complaints, and one of the biggest complaints immediately was user speeds, user ability, or rather user, like how it feels to be a user. Your user speed was so slow in the beta. If you guys did not get a chance to play the beta, but if you watch anybody say, or any reviews on it, if you guys played it all yourselves, you know what I'm talking about. The feeling of being a user, you felt so slow, you couldn't really get to other routes, you had to pick one route early, and even then, even if you made a little misstep, you were gone, there was nothing you could do. There was a lot of debate back and forth between the more competitive community, obviously, which I'm a part of, and the more casual community, but it seems like, or at least I hope, that this is going to be something where they take a very hard look at, and I'm expecting that to change. Maybe it's wishful thinking from my end, because being a competitive Madden player, that's something I want to see change, but I'm super expecting that to get buffed, and I think it has to. Because the way it was almost unplayable in the beta, and it was super frustrating. It was something that, while it was kind of divided amongst more casual players, right? More casual players, kind of like this on it. Some said yes, some said no. The competitive community, all were on the same page with that. And the feedback was absolutely overwhelming on that side of it from the competitive community, where it needed to get buffed. I think I saw one competitive player out of the hundreds I follow on my Twitter say, hey man, it looks pretty good. And honestly, I just don't care what they have to say, okay? So I think that's going to be something that has to get changed. Now, something that the entire Madden community, competitive, sim, casual, weekend leaguer, whatever, everybody agreed on was zones. Zones were super bad during the beta, and that's something I think will also get buffed. And the reason I think I feel super strong on that part, that zones get buffed, that they'll talk about that tomorrow. And the reason I think that is because the feedback from the community was overwhelming. Literally everybody was overwhelmingly saying, hey, this is really bad. We need to change it. We need to change this. We need to change this. And I feel like from EA, if they're making changes based off the feedback from the beta, which in that tweet, they said they were, that's something that's for sure going to get changed. There's no doubt in my mind that's something that's going to get changed. I'm willing to bet money on that. I'm not going to pay if I lose, but I'm willing to bet money, all right, $100, all right. So, the other things I want to talk about, what I think are going to get addressed or talked about some, those are obviously the two big ones. One was, a little more wishful, one was a definite yes. I think they're gonna mention the yard, and the reason I say that is it's such a huge thing that it got leaked. I don't think EA wanted that to get out. From my understanding, I might be wrong on that. Maybe EA made a tweet about it at some point, but my understanding was that initially it was leaked, and there was a lot of speculation, and maybe EA addressed that. I'm not sure if they did, but if they never did, or even if they did, honestly, I think it's going to get mentioned at some point during this stream, just because it's such a huge hyped feature. It's probably the big, most hyped thing about Madden 21, that there is a yard where people don't know exactly if this is going to be like the park in 2K, if, what it's going to be. People, I think they have to at least mention it. Obviously it's a gameplay improvements stream, but I think they have to at least mention that. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just, being wishful. Because as a content creator myself, I want them to mention that. That's a bunch of videos right there. They mentioned like 2 words on it. That's like 2 videos. Okay, so I think they're gonna mention it regardless. Another thing, a really funny feedback from the beta was players' arms. If you guys remember, I don't know, there was no pictures of the beta, but if you played the beta, you definitely know what I'm talking about. And this was a big feedback as well. This was a huge glitch, but I'm sure they'll address it just as part of like the little, I don't know, maybe a little ending, small minor bug changes they made, was a lot of players' arms, they were like rainbows. They had rainbow arms. I honestly thought it was pretty funny, I thought. And it wasn't the worst thing in the world, to be honest, but I'm sure they will change that. And I'm sure they will, at least mention it for a moment, because there's going to be a bunch of minor changes they made, and that's something I kind of want to talk more about as well. A huge thing in the game, everybody for the most part seemed to really enjoy these zone buffs, or rather these zone drops. You know how you could change, because a new feature this year is that you can change a cloud flat from playing 5 yards to 10 to 15 to 20, 25, 30 in 5-yard increments. And a huge issue with that, though, was that sometimes they would reset to 0. They would literally just reset to 0 randomly. Even if you didn't touch them, they'd reset to 0. Which, imagine thinking your cloud flat's going to drop back 20 yards to play a corner, and instead he sprints to the line of scrimmage. Not very good for defense. But, kind of throws a wrench in your defensive game plan. This was a huge bug. It was a clear glitch. Or not even I don't know if the glitch is the right word, but a huge bug, rather, something that wasn't supposed to be in the game, that I'm hoping they will at least address, because if that's in the game at launch day, it's going to be very hard to play the game. I can't lie. It's going to be very frustrating to play the game, where your zones are sometimes dropping to 0. Something I'd really like to see, though, Cloud, if you put your flats at 20 yards, right? Cloud flats and hard flats would both drop to 20 yards. I would love to see them say tomorrow that, hey, cloud flats will go to whatever increment you put them at. Hard flats will still play the line of scrimmage as hard flat should. That's going to be really big, because what we had to do before was that we had like our flats, and then we had like our seam flats or whatever. Those are the 2 different increment options. And if you wanted to put a hard flat and a deep cloud flat, you'd have to put a cloud flat at 20 yards and a curl flat at like 5 yards. That's the only way to do it, if that makes sense. If what I just said made sense. Alright, if you guys have not already, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, right? We're on the road to 3,000. I'm hoping to hit 3,000 before Madden 21 drops. That'd be absolutely freaking awesome. If you guys want to watch me live, make sure you guys check me out on Twitch. Links are in the description below, okay? If you have not already, make sure you guys hit the like button as well. Directly helps me. Some other stuff that I do want to address, player fatigue, okay? This was really bad. Some of it's good, though. So let me break it down. During the beta, right, the quarterbacks would get tired ridiculously fast. Not just Lamar Jackson, running heavy panther. I have no issue with Lamar Jackson running heavy panther, going to red fatigue after like 2 or 3 plays. No issue with that, okay? Maybe I'm biased. But I'd be sitting there lasering an A slot from the pocket with Tom Brady, and after a drive, maybe I got a pick right back. I was right back on offense, right? He would be like gray, or, like light red, orange. There's no reason to me for a pocket quarterback, or for really any kind of quarterback who's not really running, who's just sitting in the pocket, to really get affected by fatigue too much. And the issue with this is that a lot of times it would really make it would affect your throwing. It would affect your throw distance, your throw power. It would affect your accuracy somewhat if you didn't have a great quarterback. It could really hurt you. This was an issue that I assume will be honestly not touched. I don't think they're going to touch it. And that's frustrating, but I think they have it how they want it, which is good. I guess overall, I'd rather them leave it like this than make it, the drastic, the other extreme, because, once again, running with Lamar Jackson seems like it's going to be nerfed if you get tired immediately after 2 or 3 runs. Literally, I ran a read option with Lamar for like 40 yards on the first play of the game, and he was red the next play. I made no juke moves. I just ran up the field and slid. So that's probably going to get... I don't think so. I really don't think so. I kind of going back and forth. I don't know. That's a hard one. I don't totally know. Something I do hope they touch on. I hope they say they made some changes to it. I don't think they will, though. Is gonna be throw out a sack. I had a lot of issues during the beta with it being very inconsistent, with me being unsure if my throw was going to get affected or not affected, whether to go to a target or 10 yards short. It seemed to be just very randomized, very RNG. I'm hoping they make a comment on that and talk about how they make it more consistent, or tell us how to make it more consistent. I don't think they're going to do that. To be honest, I think they like it how it is. Another thing along the topic of quarterbacks is the max throw distance. I saw Patrick Mahomes in the pocket not be able to throw a ball like 55 or 60 yards one time because he got max throw power in pocket, or max distance, I think it was. I don't know if that's related to fatigue, which is related, to my first thing about the quarterbacks. If it is, I get it somewhat, but I just hope it's not in the game. I really hope that thing is not in the game. I hope it's just straight throw power. I don't want fatigue really making too much of a difference, especially if it's going to be that aggressive with quarterbacks, where even Tom Brady's getting tired after a couple dots in the pocket, and now he's not able to throw 40 yards on a bomb. That's super frustrating from my point of view. So with that really being said, that's really going to wrap up most of what my predictions are. If you guys have anything that you think is going to be a little bit different, what you would like to see, or what you guys think you'll see, make sure you leave a comment in the comment section below. Comments also help the YouTube algorithm if you guys do not know that. If not already, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. Always make sure to check out one of my streams, linked in the description below. We are back to posting. I've been kind of bad about posting 5 times a week. I am back to posting 5 times a week starting this week. Obviously, it's Monday right now. So I'm going to try posting around this time at night at about 11 Eastern time throughout the week. See how that goes. If you guys like it, let me know. But with that being all wrapped up, I'll see you all in the next video.